Recently, I came across a video by that atheist guy on YouTube titled 5 Most Self-Defeating Statements from Christians. Unfortunately, none of the statements in the video were actually self-defeating, but it got me thinking. And so here I've compiled 5 self-defeating statements from atheists. Now I understand that you might be an atheist watching this video who might not agree with these statements, but many atheists do, so it's important to recognize these. It's important first to define what a self-defeating statement is. A self-defeating statement is not a statement that is counterproductive and works against the position of the proponent of the statement. For example, if you're in a debate with a friend and you respond to his rational arguments by saying, "You're stupid," you actually expose your stupidity more than anything else. But that doesn't make the statement, "You're stupid," self-defeating. An example of a self-defeating statement is to say that all truth is relative. This relies on an objective truth to deny any objective truth and is thus self-defeating. Keep in mind this example, as we'll come back to it later in the video. But with that being said, without further ado, let's look at the 5 most self-defeating statements from atheists. Statement number 5. You can't impose your morals on others. When discussing politics and social issues, this is often thrown at religious people. Keep your faith to yourself, you can't tell anybody what to do. This itself, however, is a moral statement imposed on others, telling them what to do. The word can't, in this context, isn't talking about the ability to make a moral statement, as it is made in response to someone who clearly can or already has made a moral statement. So it's obviously talking about morality or ethics. Hence, it is self-defeating to suggest that nobody can tell anybody what to do, because the statement itself tells somebody what to do. Statement number 4. You should question everything. The favorite slogan of skeptics is the iconic "question everything." The problem is, the statement, if applied to itself, should be questioned. But then we'd have to question why we're questioning it, because the statement, "question everything," is currently under question. The word question doesn't even sound like a word anymore. The point is, the statement relies on that the action in the statement itself cannot be carried out. Note that this isn't to suggest that we shouldn't question anything, but it is self-defeating to suggest that we should question everything. Statement number 3. We shouldn't believe anything that isn't empirically verified. This is the view of verificationism, that only things scientifically verifiable are worthy of discussion and have any meaning to them. A typical verificationist would say that the question of God's existence is meaningless because it cannot be scientifically verified. But if we are to believe that we should only believe things that are empirically verified, then we shouldn't believe that we should only believe that things are empirically verified, because that itself is not empirically verified. Verificationism cannot live up to its own standard. Science and the way we perform experiments is built on numerous presuppositions that are outside of empirical verificationism. Similar to the last statement, this is not to suggest that empirical verification cannot give us anything, but that it is self-defeating to suggest that science is the only fountain of knowledge. Now, it's important to realize that total skepticism and verificationism aren't like logic and reason in that they are inescapable presuppositions. Reason does not require you to give a reason for everything, because then you'd have to give a reason for reason, which would be self-defeating. Total skepticism and verificationism go against logic, which therefore renders them as invalid principles. Statement number 2. Morality is subjective. Also known as moral relativism, this is the view that morality is based on opinion. Morality is defined as the nature of right and wrong, which are factual statements. So to say that morality is subjective and relative is to say that certain facts and truths are relative. Remember the example I used near the beginning of the video? An example of a self-defeating statement is to say that all truth is relative. This relies on an objective truth to deny any objective truth, and is thus self-defeating. So truth cannot be relative or based on opinion. It is true that people have opinions, but there isn't truth because people have opinions. To say that morality is subjective is self-defeating. It's essentially saying it is objectively true that morality is subjective. There either is morality, which is by definition objective, or there isn't. The slightly more tame middle ground of subjective morality is logically incoherent. And finally, statement number 1, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. This is another favorite slogan of atheists and skeptics, which is often used as a quick dismissal to the idea of the supernatural, or God. But if this is true, then all claims about the extraordinary in favor of and against require extraordinary evidence. This means that the claim that all extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence itself requires extraordinary evidence. But if one were to provide such evidence, it would only work to validate a claim that, if validated, only raises the question all over again. This is self-defeating because it fails to meet its own criteria. So those are 5 self-defeating statements from atheists. The statement that you should keep your morality to yourself is itself a failure to keep morality to oneself. The idea that we should question everything is itself questionable. The view of verificationism is itself a failure to adhere to the view of verificationism. The standpoint that morality is subjective relies on objectivity. And the claim that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence is itself an extraordinary claim without extraordinary evidence. Food for thought. If you enjoyed what you saw, be sure to check out some of my other videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.